All right, guys, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about 5 kick-ass things about the JP2C. Let's get started. Well, thanks for joining me for today's episode. So what I'm going to talk about are 5 really awesome things about the JP Mark IIc Plus by Mesa Boogie. Now, there are way more than 5 things that are amazing about it, but I'm just going to stick with my top 5 things about it. And after you watch the video, I'd like to see what your top 5 things about this amplifier are. So please feel free to comment below. Now, some of these things I'm going to go over pretty quickly with you guys and just mention them. And in other things that I talk about today, I'm going to go into more detail with and maybe do some demonstrations as well. And these things are in no particular order. They're just 5 random things that I really love about this amplifier. Let's get started on the first one now. So the first thing I love about this amplifier is you have 3 channels. So as you can see here, you have 3 very usable channels. You have a clean and 2 high gain channels. So like I said, some of these things I'm going to cover very quickly. So basically that's it. I mean, you have 3 awesome channels on this amplifier. And I really like that. A lot of times you get amplifiers with 1 or maybe 2 channels on them. And, you know, I mean, yeah, you could do a lot with those amplifiers, but with this amplifier, you have 3 and it gives you a lot more flexibility and a lot more things you can do with it. So now for the second kick-ass thing about this amplifier. I really love the way the channels are designed. Not only do you have 3 channels, but you have 3 independent channels. So with the clean channel here, it's independent of everything else on this amp. You have all the treble, mid, and bass, you know, presence, and your master volume and your gain right here, and it's all independent of these other 2 channels. And then you have 2 independent high gain channels. And the thing that I love about this is that these channels, not only are they independent, but they're voiced exactly the same. And what's cool about that is the manufacturer is not making decisions for you. They're not saying like, oh, well, this is your crunch rhythm channel, and we're going to voice it and structure the gain accordingly here, and then this is your lead channel, and we're going to voice that and structure the gain accordingly here as well. I hate it when companies make decisions for me. It's like, how do you know what I want? So with this amp, you have the same high gain channels here, but they're independent of each other. And you can dial them in any way you want. So if I want a low gain channel here that I could do some classic rock riffs or whatever, but I need a lot of scorching gain for the leads, I can do that here. But they're voiced similarly, but if I want to, I can voice these channels completely different from each other as well. If I want a really high gain crunch channel with a crushing rhythm tone on it that just sounds amazing, super aggressive and fat and bold and all the stuff I love about a great rhythm channel, I can do that here, or I can do it here and make this my lead channel. And, you know, the manufacturer's not making decisions for me. I get to make all those decisions for myself. I can dial these in any way I want to, and I just think it's freaking awesome. I've played a lot of amplifiers in the past where you know, they designate channel 2 for the rhythm channel and channel 3 for the lead channel, and what happens is you're stuck with whatever they give you. And that's one of the things I did not like about the Invective. I mean, they gave you 2 high gain channels, but they voiced them very differently from each other, and they made the lead channel super edgy, and the rhythm channel was really round, and it was weird how they did that, and I just didn't like how they designed that amplifier. That's why I'm selling it, you know. But like I said, so with this amplifier, you have 2 exactly the same voiced and gain structured high gain channels, but you can design them any way you want and dial them in any way you want. And that is freaking awesome. So I'm going to give you a quick example of all 3 of these channels right now. I'm going to play the clean channel, and I'm going to be using my Julia chorus with a little bit of delay on my Flashback 2 pedal. And I'm going to play my channel 2, which is the crushing, you know, rhythm channel. It's just got a lot of great attack and aggression and fullness, and then I'll play something on the lead channel as well for you. And remember, they're all independent of each other and dialed in exactly how I want each of them to be, and I think they sound awesome. Yeah, 3 awesome freaking channels. I mean, plenty of gain on the 2 high gain channels to do whatever you want with, and then you can voice them any way you want. And so what I did is I voiced the lead channel to be a little softer than the rhythm channel and have a little more mids. So it just had that really nice warm sound without being too piercing, you know, especially at higher volumes. And then for my rhythm channel, I voiced it so that it would be really fast attack, you know, really tight, really aggressive, really percussive, and have that really nice bite on the top end. And I was able to do that with this amplifier because of the way it's set up and the way it's designed. And I made those decisions. I didn't have someone else make them for me. I can make this amplifier sound any way I want to without any influence from the manufacturer. They just gave me the freedom to do whatever I wanted with it. And with the clean channel, I made it sound, in my opinion, it just sounds beautiful, almost piano-like, just really clean and clear, nice and chimey with some nice warmth underneath, and it just sounds awesome. So like I said, I really love the way this amplifier is designed. It gives you the opportunity to do whatever you want with each channel individually without affecting the other channels, if that makes sense. And again, all the decisions are up to you, and you have the freedom to do whatever you want. Okay, so the third thing I love about this amplifier is the fact that it has MIDI. It's one of my favorite features on an amplifier because it gives me all that flexibility when I'm playing live, whether it's here in the basement, you know, my studio, or on a stage. I can switch all kinds of stuff around with one tap of a foot switch, and the amplifier switches channels, and whatever effects that I want associated with each one of those channels to turn on or off happens instantaneously. And I love the fact that John Petrucci was smart enough to add that feature to this amplifier, because, you know, it's nice to have an amplifier designed by a touring musician that's been on the road for years, I mean decades, I mean, he's pretty much seen it all. So this is an amplifier with a wish list, you know, put into it from a touring musician that's at John Petrucci's level as a player and a touring musician, you know. So it's really nice to have all that experience, all those years on the road, and all the stuff that, you know, we go through on the road, like, man, I wish my amp did this, or I wish my gear did that. Well, all of that is put into this amplifier, and one of the features is MIDI, and it's freaking awesome. I'll show you. So right now I'm on my crunch rhythm channel, but if I want to go over to my clean channel, I hit that switch, the amplifier automatically switches, and all the effects associated with that channel also gets turned on and routed to that channel. And now I want to go back to my crunch rhythm channel, go back there, and now I'm on my lead channel. And what's nice is the EQ that's associated with each one of these channels also turns on, as you can see. So right now I'm on EQ number 2 for my lead channel, and then it switches back to EQ number 1 for my rhythm channel, and it stays on EQ number 1 for my clean channel. So it's just really nice that all the features on this amplifier all are switchable via MIDI. And that brings me to the fourth thing that I really like about this amplifier: 2 assignable EQs. So let me switch the camera here. On most Mark series amplifiers, that give you 1 EQ that just covers all the channels on the amplifier. But John, in his awesome infinite wisdom and experience, wanted 2, so he can assign different EQs for each one of these channels. Now, yes, 2 of these channels will share 1 EQ, but what I did is I picked channel 1, which is my clean, and channel 2 to share the EQ, because I want the same out of channel 1 EQ wise that I'm going to get out of channel 2. I want that nice warmth and fullness with a nice chime on the top end. So I guess for the clean channel you'd call it chime, for the crunch rhythm channel you'd call it attack or aggression. And I felt that the EQ settings that I have here on EQ number 1 fit both of these channels perfectly. So I don't really need 3 EQs. Now some people actually would bypass this EQ section for the clean channel, which I don't do. I think it sounds better with it, but to each their own. And then for channel 3, my lead channel, this is my EQ. Now it's hard to tell with the camera because these faders are super powerful and sensitive. You just nudge them a hair and they do a lot. So I actually have more mids in the lead channel, and I also brought the top fader down a little bit too, to round off that top end a little bit and give me that, you know, that really nice warm but not abrasive sound. And I also took some of the bass out, because with leads you don't want too much bass because it kind of fills things up too much and gets too flubby. And I want the clarity, you know, that is achieved by pulling that fader down a little bit. So it's just nice to have that independence and that flexibility when you're you know, dialing in the amplifier. So that is an awesome feature, and I'm so glad that John recommended that they put that on this amplifier, because it really does make a huge difference. Especially, like I said, when you're going from rhythm to lead, you want that nice warm sound, you know. And I don't know if you've ever seen Dream Theater live, but John's lead tone is, it's just money. It's so good. And I try to achieve that here as well, because the last thing you want to do is you know, get everybody's ears just burning from that too much scorching high end on your leads. And with this amplifier, you're never going to have that problem, because you have the opportunity to dial it in any way you want. And you're not making compromises, you know, because on some amplifiers with shared EQs and stuff, you dial in the rhythm channel, you're like, oh yeah, that's perfect. It's got that really nice bite and attack and fullness that I like. And then you switch to your lead channel with that shared EQ, and all of a sudden the leads are just ripping your head off, and they're just way too piercing and too scratchy and stuff. And you're like, son of a bitch, I just wish I wouldn't have to make these compromises. So what do? You make a compromise. You back things down on that shared EQ so your lead channel isn't driving everyone nuts. And then you go back to your rhythm channel, and now it's too soft, and all that texture and aggression's gone. That's not going to happen on this amplifier. You have every opportunity to make this amplifier sound as good as you can. Okay, so the fifth and final thing that I think is awesome on this amplifier, at least for this episode, again, there's many, many more, but I'm just covering 5, is this really cool thing they did with the presence knob. Let me show you what they did here. So you actually have a push-pull on the presence knob. Okay, so when you push it in, it's the new voicing that they came up with this amplifier, but when you pull it out, it's actually the original Mark II C Plus voicing. So if you want that, you can go for that. So I wanted to try that out, and I really like the pulled out version, which is the original Mark II C Plus voicing. Let me show you the difference now. I'm going to go to channel 2, which is my Crunch Rhythm channel, and it's out now. And I'll play a few riffs on it, and I'll push it in and show you how it darkens up a little bit at this setting, but then you turn it up at a different setting to get the brightness that you need there. So as you heard, it's 2 completely different voicings and actually tolerances and sweeps on the knob. So you can dial in the presence any way you want to get a different kind of attack and a different kind of like that really nice searing top end if you want. Or if you wanted a little smoother, you can go for the pushed in version and dial it accordingly there too. So it really depends. And channel 2 and channel 3 have that same feature. So you know, if you really want to smooth out your leads even more, push it in and pull it back just a hair, and it really does smooth out your leads quite a bit. You know, and you can have smooth leads even with it pulled out. You just have to turn it down a little further. So it's just different tolerances, completely different voicings, and all that with that knob, and it really adds a lot of flexibility and some really cool nerdy tone stuff to the amplifier. Well, anyways, that is 5 kick-ass things about the JP Mark II C Plus by Mesa Boogie. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learned something from it, and I'm looking forward to seeing your comments below on what your favorite 5 things are about this amplifier. You know, just tell me what you think about this amplifier. I'm looking forward to seeing your comments below. And to all my subscribers and Patreon supporters, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I come out with a new episode or go live. Well, I got a lot more coming up for you guys, and I will see you on the next one.